endings and beginnings, my artistic journey to graduation. Welcome to my mini doc. This is my journey from freshman year to senior year, and I'm gonna be kind of documenting or showing you how I've documented all of my creations, my passion projects from 2021 to 2025. You're gonna kind of see a little bit of the behind the scenes of how certain classes and courses that I've taken have inspired or given me the tools or skills to get to that point of creation, get to that final piece. Yeah, let's just start with freshman year. So going into freshman year, I would say that I had a very clear idea on what it is I wanted to focus on course-wise. I understand that for a lot of students and a lot of people my age at the time, it's not a very common thing where you go into it knowing exactly what it is you want to do when you leave. But I was just extremely lucky with all my previous life experiences and career experiences. I've been extremely blessed to kind of already be doing what it is I want to do when I graduate. So freshman year, I would have to say one of the most pivotal things that I was learning was through my experimental film class, which, to be honest with y'all, I absolutely did not like. And even though I didn't like it, I learned a whole lot, which is, that's what we're in college for. So I was able to get creative with what I had, working with what I got. That led me to learning how to edit using industry standard editing software, Premiere Pro. Later on, what I currently use is DaVinci Resolve, which I think is my personal favorite. But it really did show me that I was capable of doing so much more off the first year alone. Because I'm going into college off the bat, straight out of a performing arts high school, PPAS. PPAS means the Professional Performing Arts High School in Manhattan, Hell's Kitchen. Shout out to y'all. I was a drama major for 4 years of high school, and to kind of encapsulate that entire experience, it was a mixture of voice and speech classes, movement classes, Shakespeare. I did 12th night 1 year, performed that. So many more classes that just kind of was like a conservatory almost through Waterwell. So yeah, shout out to them. I got to finally do what I wanted to do at the end of the semester, or the end of the school year. We got this final conference project to create a 10-minute film of our choice. It could be whatever we wanted. And to hear whatever we wanted as a freshman in that class where it was, everything I didn't want to do, the final project, I was like, I'm going narrative, and I had about maybe 2 weeks to figure out what it was, because I also had to shoot it and edit it and then present it at least the week later or 2 weeks later. So that's how Dipshits was created, which is one of my most prized possessions, one of my first official mini-series passion projects that I got to create straight off the bat. So yeah, I went crazy with it. I wrote the script. I think I wrote the script in a week, because it had to be 10 minutes. So 10 minutes, 10 pages. I think at that time I didn't even have final draft yet. I think I was using Google Docs. I started off very unorthodox with it, but yeah, wrote the script in a week. I had the exact cast in mind, and they were all just close friends of mine, and they all said yes. So I was extremely lucky. What's going to surprise people about this show?
I think that first of all, it's made by you. They
know who I am.
I mean, I'm just surprised that you're directing, producing, you're pitching it yourself, you're writing it yourself, all of that. So I think that's very surprising.
And we just shot the entire thing in one day. I had the most fun. It was my first time directing other actors. So yeah, it was written by me, directed by me, and starring me. So I wanted to act in it too, because that's the first love and everything. But yeah, that's how Dipshits was created. Honestly, it was a last minute college final project, and it was a short film at first, and then A year later, damn, it really was a year later. A year later, I decided to make it into a series. And that's the perfect segue into sophomore year. Sophomore year was pretty fire, honestly. I remember it being very chill for me because I finally got to take all classes that I really wanted to take. Because as a freshman, we could only take one creative arts class. I got to take a post-production class. Shout out to Brian Emery. And that's where I really got to get into the nitty-gritty with my editing. I went into the class having to create a short film to share at the beginning of the semester, and that's how my music video / film for Out of My Mind, my song, my first album, was created, and it's still available now. It actually won multiple awards in some film festivals, so.
Insecurities triggered by my confidence, my presence hard to understand. Maybe deep inside they really jealous. Been believing I'ma get it in the gym, forget it, y'all ain't getting that far. Every season gonna be putting trophies in the crib. I'ma need a backyard. Listen, I don't even gotta act different for the cameras. I don't gotta act hard. Mentally, I'm on a different level. I be working, show 'em what the facts are.
Yeah, that was created for my class. A lot of people don't know that. And I got to start to implement my mixture of Meliki, the actor, and Meliki, the music artist. In that same class is where I started to use DaVinci Resolve, which is another editing software that I still use to this day because it came with my very own camera, my very own Blackmagic pocket camera, 6K Pro. After my freshman year, after shooting Dipshits, I realized how eventually it would be very helpful to start to invest in myself and invest in my own equipment, because trying to rent from the school, which is a blessing in itself, was getting a little tricky with time, and you know, there's a lot of students that want to use equipment, and I kind of like the idea of shooting whenever I want to shoot, especially because I've never lived on campus. I've been commuting all 4 years from Brooklyn, New York, so having a camera in Brooklyn to kind of do what I will with it, it's made a major difference for me creatively as well. And within that class, we had an assignment for a conference to shoot another project of ours. So that led me to writing and shooting episode 2 of Dipshits. But yeah, I shot episode 2. I had wanted to go bigger for episode 2 in greater quality, and this time around I was under the clock, so once again assembled my close friends and we shot it. We did reshoots, we did a lot, but I also got to write it, direct it, star in it, and we also got to do different locations this time, which is pretty fun. Yeah, from 1 and 2 together, I was able to kind of look back at it and be like, okay, now I have an episode 1 and an episode 2. All of this is like a proof of concept for me in the long run. So being able to do that for the class and have it when I leave the class was strategic on my end. Then we're getting into the end of my sophomore year where marketing and communications reached out to me. They reached out to me to shoot an episode of Amazon Prime's The College Tour. And that was pretty sick, I will say. I had to send an audition tape in, and I was lucky enough to be chosen among a lot of students, and it was maybe like a handful of us to talk about myself and my experience at the school and what my goals were, what I'm studying, and it was pretty cool to see that they didn't alter what I wrote. I wrote it all by myself, and they kept everything, and it was such a smooth shooting experience. I think it was 2 days maybe, or 1 day. But yeah, they shot B-roll. I shot, I had different clothes. Yeah, they really did a good job of like capturing the essence of like me in such a short amount of time. And I guess it's also I got to write it myself, so. But yeah, I'm super grateful to marketing and communications. Shout out to Nick for emailing me to even like audition for it. But yeah, now I have that forever, and I can look back at that and look back at like what I was doing in college so early too. Shout out to the college tour. Junior year, I got to really dabble into screenwriting a lot that whole year. Shout out to Maggie Greenwald for being super supportive, a great professor. She was like another voice among many voices that kind of amplified my talent in writing, which is always nice to hear, especially as a music artist, because I write all of my own stuff, and with screenwriting, it's just another way, another medium of telling stories for me. Because as an actor, I'm telling stories through somebody, or through a writer, or through a director, and also through myself as well. Through that class, I got to write another short film called Plan B, and when I get a budget and some grant money, that for sure will be shot in its entirety. But yeah, I got so much great feedback. It seemed like all my classmates were like in love with the story and in love with how funny it was, because as a writer, I think comedy is just so fun to write. And as an actor, I like to do everything, but as a writer right now, comedy has been on the forefront for me. But yeah, the following semester, I took another class from the same professor, Maggie Greenwald, but it was a screenwriting/directing class. And within that one, I got to not only write a new short film, I got to write it and shoot it. So that was pretty cool. Write it, shoot it, and direct it. And I got a little lucky. I made a deal with her that I could also act in it, because she was against it at first. But I kind of just probed her. I was just like, listen, let's make a deal. I'll direct actors, but I gotta act in it. I gotta tap into my Quentin Brunson, my Donald Glover type of aura, I guess. But she was nice enough to appeal to it, and I got to go crazy with it. That was my first time writing comedy/drama, so like a dramedy. It was a much more serious story. Yeah. Plan B, Fishtail, all in 1 year, 2 short films. You kind of see where I'm going with this. I'm being very strategic with like what I'm doing in these classes and what I'm doing with my time at St. Lawrence. Yeah. In addition to that, I took I guess it was a production class, but it was taught by Misael Sanchez, who was amazing. We have a soundstage on campus, and that entire class was dedicated to learning how to play every role on a film set. Gaffer, DP, director, actor, grip. I got to be very hands-on with equipment even more, and even different cameras, and kind of just seeing, how I could put more tools under my belt and know how to use a C-stand and know how to put up equipment myself or build sets with friends. And through that, I got to make my own recreation of a short film from the same team that created the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse films. And I had to do one of my dream roles. I had to play Miles Morales. So I was the only kid in that class to direct a recreation and also act in my own recreation. So I got to recreate a minute of the short film they made, and that was animated. So I was doing a live action of an animated short film. That was pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. That came out very dope. In addition to my other creative arts classes, my academic classes, including my lectures with Komozi Woodard, who is my faculty sponsor, I got to learn a lot about history and social sciences, and the Black Panthers, Malcolm X, the autobiography of Malcolm X, a lot of amazing Black history that unfortunately we don't really get to learn about in school, even public school. So during one of the conferences, we fell upon the topic of the first Black millionaire, and Komozi was kind of just like, well, what's his name? The first Black millionaire. I'm forgetting it right now. And he kind of just moved on from the topic. But in the class, I was on my laptop and I was just Googling. Anytime Komozi speaks, I have to Google everything because his brain is like a computer with memory and experiences with the Panthers and the civil rights movement and even current events politically as well. Extremely intelligent.
I am Komozi Woodard, and I've been teaching here since 1989. I never was a big fan of lecturing people, right? That's the number one why I use. But Spike Lee came on campus and gave a lecture in our film program, and basically he convinced me that I wasn't using all the tools I could to teach history, right? He talked about filmmaking, and the filmmaker has all these storytelling tools. You know, you got the music, you got a script, you got actors, and on and on. And it occurred to me that if you're trying to get people to imagine a historical moment, and it's hard for those students to imagine how that history took place, why not use film, particularly documentaries, to get people into that, at least situate themselves as what did it feel like to be in the black world in 1925, right? The documentaries are great, and also documentaries started to be, it used to be the documentaries were so badly written that it was a waste of time, right? And you'd have to explain away all the mistakes the documentary was making before you could get to the reading, right? But there was kind of a sea change around the same time after I heard Spike Lee make that presentation.
It's so hard to capture everything, the essence of everything I've been doing, but I was also doing so much musically. I went to Google and I was like, in the class, I was like, who's the first black millionaire? And the name comes up and I see Jeremiah Hamilton, and I'm like, oh. I was like, why don't they teach this? And once again, my mind was blown, and I was like, not only like, this is like an amazing piece of black history, but also at the time I was working on my sophomore album that I released shortly after, and I was writing a song and I couldn't figure out what the topic was. I just had a great beat. Shout out to J Infinity, and I was in the class and I remember being like thinking of the beat, and I was like, Jeremiah Hamilton. I was like, well, I could write about like feeling like a millionaire, the first black millionaire. Like imagine that, imagine being him. And I was just like, I feel like Jeremiah Hamilton.
I feel like Jeremiah Hamilton. Fresh to death, I got the candles lit. I feel like Jeremiah Hamilton. Y'all can hear the lid.
It turned into a whole thing. Shot the music video for it and everything. That's one of my favorite videos to date and songs I've written to date. Shout out to Trey the artist, shout out to Stick, shout out to Maxwell. We made a very fun and very educational song. Senior year. It's crazy to say that and even talk about it in past tense, because I'm filming this literally like at least 2 or 3 weeks before graduating. So senior year, I got to take a writing for TV class. I'm approaching the end of it right now, but I've learned and been learning so much as a screenwriter. It has expanded my knowledge on how to make my scripts just more polished and just greater quality. I'm currently writing a TV pilot, an original TV pilot, and that's been so stressful and so fun and so exciting and so, some days you want to pull your hair out, and some days you can't fathom how exciting it is to think about shooting it. I wrote it with myself in mind for the main character, and it's got some superpowers involved, some fantasy involved, so very new territory for me. Prior to that, I got to write a spec script, and I also learned what a spec script was in that class. I wrote an original script, an original episode for Abbott Elementary, which is kind of cool to think about because Quinta Brunson being like a great person to like be inspired by, career-wise as well, and what she did with Abbott Elementary. It was kind of like poetic to me to like write an episode for it. Looking back at my sophomore year, thinking about starting with short films, and now I'm writing a 32-page episode. It's a lot, but I know that doing it, like, it's showing me how I'm more than capable. As well as that, so many things this year. I had the opportunity of performing at the PAC, the Performing Arts Center, doing my own solo show for 45 minutes, a 45-minute set of all my own music, along with my homie Trey the artist, as my guest artist. And looking back from freshman year to now, doing a 45-minute set is a major accomplishment, to say the least. I am so grateful to Flacco for providing the opportunity through Oye Group. It makes me excited for the future. And you know, when I do hour sets and 2-hour sets, gotta build my stamina, get in the gym. But yeah. Even on the music side, outside of school, I'm witnessing how my time here and my connections that I've created or developed are translating, you know, outside now. But yeah, along with that, as a perfect segue, I was reached out to through marketing and communications, but this time from a different person, Colleen. Shout out to Colleen for noticing, I guess, word travel that like I did my set at the PAC Center, and she noticed it and wanted to reach out to me about creating a passage or a little article for me in the Sarah Lawrence Student Spotlight magazine for the month of January 2025. And I said yes. I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna like look back at this in years and maybe that magazine will be worth something one day. Now I have something to hold on to forever. I call it leaving my little footprints at Sarah Lawrence before I go. So I think doing that my senior year, it was extremely prolific to me personally, because it was a nice recap of me and my identity and my artistic identity at Sarah Lawrence. So I think to pair that with the ending of my mini doc, it's been a journey. And in a few weeks, that chapter will be closed. So I gotta say, you know, thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody who may be watching. Thank you to everybody who I've met, collaborated with, and will continue to stay in touch with, and all my professors. Thank you to Komozi Woodard for being my faculty sponsor. Without him, I would not have been able to do this, because this is also a final project. This is literally, this is how I'm getting my final credits to graduate. So to be able to do something creative is the perfect way to wrap up my time at Sarah Lawrence. But yeah, it's been real, Sarah Lawrence. I can't thank y'all enough. Thanks for allowing me to go to the school, you know, and putting me on that scholarship, because I could not have gone without y'all, you know, putting some bread up. But yeah, it's been real. It's been real.
You just gotta forget about those people, because you're doing it for yourself, not doing it for anyone else.